Alright, our next step is to use the revolve command so we can revolve the top and bottom and see what we come up with. To do this, you go to revolve, which is going to be right under extrude, revolve. I select the first item and I click space or enter and make sure I have to press a axis. So my axis is going to be this line right here, like so. And it's going to ask me at what degrees I want to cut it shorter. No, I want 360, so I click space or enter. And I do the same thing at the bottom piece. Right. Make sure you have ortho on, because otherwise sometimes your object will not be exactly to what you were looking for. So again, select it, revolve. I have ortho on, so my mouse moves directly 90 degrees. And we have top and bottom. Now to get a better visual view, I go to my view tab and I go to conceptual. So you can see I have a top and bottom. Now it's a little bit smaller than I designed it to be, but that's alright. I can work with it. I can just make the body a little bit smaller than what was planned out to be. So my next step will be to actually offset this box area to create some sort of, actually I will have to, so in this situation I made it too small. I do have to resolve it because that opening has to be to specs, so I have to make sure it's correct. Now to do this, I think my computer is going a little slow. Give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. So, actually I'm going to leave it as is. I'm just going to stretch this back because it looks like I can keep it to this size since that mailbox opening does still fit and it gives me some support right here. So I'm going to delete these top and bottom. That's what my opening would be looking like. Kind of looks disastrous from this side, and actually if I was to be specific, it should be like this. That would be our opening. Now, I have my top and bottom. My next goal will be to extrude the bottom to the top. I'm going to use this box to remove the material. Instead of going and drawing a circle and extruding, what I can do in this case, I'm going to 3D view, is I can go to extrude face. To do that, I go over here, extrude faces. The other option is going to modify. Modify, solid editing, extrude faces. I select the face I want to extrude, which is the circular. And now it's going to ask me the distance. So I'm going to start from, actually I can start from the center of that circle to the center of the top circle. And I keep that. Oh, looks like I hit the wrong circle extension. That's alright. You can undo and do that one more time. Sometimes it's hard to catch which center circle you're hitting. There we go. And nope, it still doesn't work that well. That's alright. I'm going to extend it even more because we are going to union this later on. So I'm going to extend it about 1 inch. There we go. It might be overlapping, but that's alright. There we go, we got all the pieces together. Now, my next problem is I have to create that hole. To do that, I have a few different ways I can do this. I can draw a square here and extrude it out and subtract it. Actually, we'll just do that. It will be the easiest way. So I'm going to bottom view, since my X and Y coordinates are this way. Yours might be different, it's alright. I'm going to draw out the square, which is going to be 12 by 9 3/4. So I'm going to use the rectangle command, D for dimension, and do 9.75 by 12. So I have 12 high, 9.34 across, and 16 deep. So I have it the right way. I'm going to move it up to its location based on my reference drawing. I'm just going to draw myself a line here. So I make sure that it is specified to the height. Move it down. and I'm going to move it across. Oops. 3D rotate so that it's kind of centered. Oh, it's actually not that centered. So I'm gonna I can extrude it now. That way I have a 3D item. 16. We have it there. And to make my whole life much easier, I'm just gonna move it from the midpoint to the quadrant of the circle. If you can't hit the quadrant, you make sure your OSNAP quadrant is on. From this point, I go up. Let's see what kind of distance I have. From this point to this point. 48.5. So I can easily do that. Use the green arrow, 48.5. And now I can subtract. Subtract from that item this. There we go, we have our slot for mailbox. Oh, it's a little deeper than I thought. So I'm going to undo. I'm not sure if there's a requirement to the actual depth size, but that's alright. I'm going to move it up on the z-axis about 1 inch. And that should be enough. So I have a 15-inch deep. And I'm going to use the subtract command again. Subtract, select the item that I want to subtract from, and now the box. There we go. So my next thing I want to do is actually want to make this item shallow. To do this, I can use the shallow command. Now make sure you save your work before you do this, because sometimes the computers crash. So to do the shell command, you have to, oh, that's not where it was. Sorry, I know that's modify solid editing shell, but I'm trying to find it here for you guys. Oh well. Oh, sorry, solid. There we go. And shell. There we go. So select the object, which I want to shell. Oh, this is union because it got extruded. So this can be an issue because it's hollow in here, but not hollow here. So the shell might have a big problem with this. So before we even do that, I want to go over the option of slicing. I'm going to slice the bottom so we separate the two items. To do that, you go to slice command. You select the object that you want to slice, and you use a reference line. So I'm going to use the center of the circle as a reference, and now it's cut into 2 pieces. That's 1, that's 2. Now we can go back to our shelling. We go to shell, we select the object you want to shell. It's asking about to remove faces. That's the one that's going to leave an opening to the item. We actually don't want any openings right now, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And the shell distance, make the thickness of the item about 1/2 inch. Keep it consistent. So now it should be, let's go to a better view, maybe a wireframe. You can see there's an actual thickness to it. So to prove this, it's a little too difficult to see, I can again use the shell command, not the shell command, the slice command, to give you a view inside. But I'm just doing it for, you don't have to do this. So you can see it's only a 1/2 inch thickness all around. Even the boxes inside, if you were looking at the box, it's 1/2 inch. Alright, I'm going to undo. That's how you would examine if your object is solid or not. Sometimes you get wireframes, which is not what you want. Alright, this completes the first portion of the mailbox. Next step will be to create the door. So we'll do that next.